Okay. Do you have exactly where we left off?
Yeah. I'm on this page.
You're on Ayin Beis, Amud Aleph.
Yes.
Past the Mishnah.
Let me see.
We'll start from Amar Rav.
Gemara, Amarava.
After Amar Rav.
I think the Gemara, no other thing.
At the Gemara? Really? Amar Rav? Okay. Oh.
Yeah, because we mentioned that.
This is what Bismillah.
Yeah, I think we did the Mishnah. Ask
Okay. Yeah, it says it. Okay, we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. It's supposed to be learning. Should have the base of English immediately. How you doing, Shalom? Okay. And we're learning Lili Nishmas, Talasab Ben Tzion, and also for Shalom for everyone that needs. Of course, for the hostages. Okay, so Ayin Beis Amud Aleph. We're somewhere past the Mishnah. The Mishnah said that above a machteres, that's the guy that's tunneling into someone else's house, he basically forfeits his life. And Rav explained why, because there's a chazaka that no one's going to let someone else. There's an assumption that no one's going to let another person come into their house and take their own items. Obviously, they're going to stand up. They're going to try to chase the guy out. And when they're going to chase the guy out, they're going to chase him out with a gun, with a knife. In LA, you can't do that. You can't do that. So therefore, the person he's going to end up really the way it's explained is that when the guy's going to stand up against me, the robber is going to turn into a murderer. He's going to kill the owner of the house. Now, if he's a murderer, then he forfeits his life. Forfeits his life, then you can kill him. Now, we're going to learn that not only is the owner allowed to kill him, but actually anyone else is allowed to kill him. Unless, of course, it's a father that's tunneling in to his son, which we know that he's not going to end up killing the son. Yeah, maybe in Marcus, you know. Okay, let's start from Amar Rav. It's in the Gemara. It's like 5 lines down in the wide lines. Amar Rav, Rav has a chiddush. Rav says that if someone is tunneling and he's going into someone else's house, he takes out utensils from the house because he's a robber. He takes out he's a thief, and he takes out these utensils. He doesn't have to pay back what he took. And the explanation is because really he just forfeited his life. My time, what's the reason? B'damim kananu. He acquired it with his own blood. Because since he forfeited his life, that means he has a death penalty. We have a rule that you never get 2 punishments. Because he's getting a punishment of a death penalty, even though he didn't actually die. He didn't get the death penalty because he survived this whole thing. They didn't catch him. No one stood up to him, and he just make it out. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to give it back. Yeah, it changes the whole halachas.
But they didn't catch him.
They didn't catch him.
Yeah.
But because if they would have stood up, once he enters into the house, once he tunnels into the house, so then he forfeits his life. So he doesn't have to pay because it's a kamle b'deramine that could have happened. Amar Rava says, "Mistaber milsad Rav b'shashiber delesno. I will not toldai." It would make sense to have Rav's din only if the item was not intact. But if the item was intact, then he should definitely return it back to the person. He stole it. It's not his. What do you mean? If it was something that there was a type of payment, there was some sort of restitution that he has to do, and we say no, he can't, he doesn't, because he's getting 2 punishments, we don't give him the restitution together with the death penalty, so fine. But over here, where the item is still intact, we don't say that that's that's like a payment of some sort. That's not a rest. That's take the item where it is and put it back in the where you took it from. It's like a pikadon. It's not a You see, what's the difference between a loan when you borrow money and if you borrow an item? When you borrow money, you don't have to return the actual coins. You know you're going to spend that money and you give back the value. When you borrow an item, you're supposed to give back the actual item. The guy doesn't want some other item. So no, I want my scooter, my whatever. So you have to give back that. Now, if it breaks or something, that's a different story. Then you have to pay for it. So here we're saying you took the item. If it breaks, let's say, okay, you don't have to pay because there's a death penalty, so you don't have to do the payment. But if it's intact, then you should just give it back. That's what Rav says. Mistaber milsa Rav. It would make sense that Rav would say only if it's intact that you only if it's broken you don't have to give it back. But if it's intact, you should give it back.
I mean, it's hypothetical that will never happen.
What do you mean?
You stole. You should have been killed. We don't know where you are, but give it back.
No, we're talking about we know where he is. He makes it out, and he makes it back home, and we catch everything.
So we do catch him.
Yeah, we catch him. What we said we didn't catch means the owner didn't stand up in the middle of the night and try to stop him, and
so he got away with it.
He got away.
Now we caught him.
And now we caught him, but because during the time that he was stealing it, he had forfeited his life.
Okay.
You with me?
I thought we did this yesterday.
You did. This is what you did. Now I'm up to exactly what you did.
Oh,
too.
okay, yeah. Because I remember trying to define yesh lo dam.
Yeah, funny.
Is the Gemara going to explain the logic of this? Because he could have lost his life, and the person who killed him would not have been chayav. Now he's made a kinyan on the property that he stole. Is that what it's saying?
No, it's not the kinyan. No, it's not the kinyan. A ganav has a certain type of kinyan. It's not so clear exactly when that kinyan it takes effect. If it's a shina in it, if there's yish, if there's that's the whole sugya. Here, that's our point is not the kinyan. Our point is if there's a payment that he has to do as a type of restitution for stealing, so he doesn't have to do that payment, that restitution. That's what Rabbi.
Talking about the kafel or the 4 or 5? Is that what?
No, I'm just talking about even the principal. Even the principal is considered a payment for the item. So Rabbi says that would make sense only if there's a payment for the item, where we say you don't have to pay. Let's say let's call it damage.
Okay.
Let's say he damaged. So because he has a death penalty and he also has a payment for damages, so we're only going to give him the death penalty, not the payment, not the monetary payment. Right? A murderer that tears the guy's shirt with the bullet,
Right.
doesn't have to pay for the shirt.
But if the murderer tears the shirt first and then later kills the guy, then he isn't have to pay both.
That's true. That's a good point. But does that come into here? No. He forfeited his life the whole time that he was in there. And now when he takes an item, it's all of this is all we consider coming together.
After we kill him, who gets to keep the item?
Good.
Okay. So Rabba says, but that would only make sense if it's a type of payment, not if it's still in the possession of the original owner of the victim. The Gemara says, Velikim. This is like an oath. It says, what are you talking about? I swear. Amar Rav, afilu natal. Rav says that even if the item is still intact, he took the item, still don't have to give back the item. We give a little logic for Rav. It goes like this. Let's say the person that was tunneling in is the father of the homeowner. Now, when the homeowner stands up, was the son. The father would never kill his son. So if that's the case, then the father, who's the thief, has not forfeited his life because he did not become a murderer. He would only have forfeited if he would have become a murderer. He did not become a murderer. So let's say he stole something. So does the father have to pay it back? Yeah, for sure he has to pay, right? Because he's not a murderer. There's no other punishment. There's no capital punishment. There's no here because it's the father. But let's say an accident happened and it broke. Does he have to pay? Yeah, he has to pay because okay, now 1 second. Why does he have to pay if an accident happens? Now, because he's a goner, right? He has to pay because he's a goner. If he would have been a watchman, now we have two ways of looking at the item. You can look at the item like that's in his possession as it's the item that really belongs in the homeowner's possession, and he's just holding it and he has to return it. Or we can look at the item as something that it's now in the thief's possession, and he owes the owner for it. No, it's more like a borrower or something, like a loan, not as a pikadon. If you view it as a pikadon, then you just put the item in. But here, if you view it as a pikadon, like it's deposited by him and he has to return it, then an accident happens and say, it's an accident, I shouldn't have to pay, I'm just a shomer. But we don't say that. We say because he stole it, we say it enters into his possession, and if it breaks, even if it's an accident, he has to pay the value. That means that it's really in his possession. It's a loan. It's not, it's like a monetary loan. It's not a, okay, so that's what we're saying. If there would be a type of case where there is a payment, then even if it's an accident that would broke, he would still have to pay. Alma b'shusei kami, we see that the item is in the property of the thief, not as still in the property of the homeowner. So if that's the case, let's return to the guy that's not the father of the homeowner.
Wait, what if this happened in the house?
In the house.
Are they gonna make a difference between the thief is going in or out of the house, where the life risk?
Not here. No.
Okay.
Anywhere. Hachanami. So here also b'shusei kaimi. We say also that it must be in the possession of the thief.
That's how
If it's in the possession of the thief, even if it's still intact, then he shouldn't have to pay for it.
he dug to get into the house.
Yeah.
So we started thinking he was
Yeah.
He was reliable to be killed.
Yeah, because if the person would stand up to block him, he would end up killing the homeowner.
He started. That's it.
Sometimes
It happens a lot. They tunnel into someone's house nowadays.
no, but
No.
they get
Doesn't
into the
have to be
attic.
done.
They do the tunnel. They go through the window. They have a lot of other ways.
Oh yeah, they
But a lot of times, even the thief, it's not their intention. They just get scared. The homeowner comes
Right.
out and then
the story with the guy that he climbed down the chimney. That he was stealing from the Rav's house. I didn't realize the Rav was sitting there by the table learning. The guy pops out from the chimney, from the fireplace. He's standing there. Says, the Rav looks up. He looks at him. The guy's there. He says, Rebbe, I have a shaila. And he says, what's your shaila? He says, Wie kriegt man a reis van dannen? How do I get out of here? Where's the closest exit? Okay, so well, we can't. Okay, the Gemara says v'laihi, but it can't be so. We can't accept this view of Rav. That logic that we just gave, that why you should eat, Rav should say. We're discussing here a Baba Machteres, the robber. So we're just saying if that Rav holds that the robber doesn't have to pay back what he took because he forfeited his life and there's a kamle but the Rav mine. So Rava says, but that only depends if the item is intact, if it's broken. But if it's still intact, then you should have to return it. We tried to explain Rav that even if it's intact, you still don't have to return it. The Gemara says, "V'lahi," it's not so.
He looks a little confused. When we did the 3 Bubbas already, Bubba 2, this is not Bubba Machteres.
they don't know we've been discussing. This is Jew and non-Jew.
Jew.
Because the punishments are different.
The Jew. Then okay. The proof that you brought that why it's considered in the possession of the thief was because sometimes it puts it into your possession just to make you responsible. It doesn't mean, you see, if there's an item that that's in a watchman's possession, and it breaks by accident. So in most instances, he doesn't have to pay for that because it was an accident. If he's a borrower, then he does have to pay for it. So the Torah gives him here the status of a borrower, where he has to pay for it. That doesn't mean that it's his. We were saying that the fact that he has to pay for it if it breaks, that means that it's his, and he has a debt. His, but he has a debt, he would be exempt from paying that debt. As a payment, it would be exempt because that would be two punishments. You have to do the payment, and you also have the death penalty. But here we're not saying that it's his entirely. Here we're saying, and he has a payment. Here we're saying that it's not his. The only thing is they up the level of responsibility for Shmira as if he's a borrower. So it's in his possession for Einsin. That doesn't mean if it's still intact that it's his. It's only in his possession for Einsin. Avalinian Mikna B'Shasei de Mari Kaimei. We did Avishel exactly like by a borrower. By a borrower, we don't say that it belongs to the person. Even if an accident happens and he has to pay, don't say it belongs to the borrower. You say it belongs to the original owner. If it's intact, you have to give the actual item back. You can't say, person can say, well, look, you lent it to me, so now it's mine. So now I'll just pay you for the lawnmower. The guys say, no, give me back the lawnmower that I lent you. I don't want your money. I want the thing that I lent, right? It belongs to the original owner. So here too, it's not a payment that he's making to the robber that came in and took the item. And when he's giving back what actually belonged to what the item itself belonged to the original owner. It's not a payment on the, okay. Okay, so we're rejecting the Rav when the item is intact. Even though Rav said that, we're rejecting that.
What does Machteres mean?
Machteres means to tunnel, to go under the wall to get into someone's house. Baba Machteres is coming through a tunnel. Let's say someone is tunneling, and while he's tunneling, he breaks a barrel. Yesh le damim. If there is a yesh le damim, we're going to have two options here. There's yesh le damim or ein le damim. Damim over here means blood. If he has blood, that means if he still is in charge of his own life, that means he hasn't forfeited his life. Why would he not have forfeited his life if he's tunneling in? The guy's going to stand up and he's going to kill him, and so therefore anyone's allowed to kill the intruder. He's an intruder, right?
This is the story of Gaza. This is the whole thing.
Everything. That's true. So
I have some sons.
So yesh le damim means if it's a father that's coming in that's tunneling against his son, the father's stealing from his son's house. And we know that if the son would stand up and try to block the intruder, the father would never kill his son. It means the father still has his own blood. It means he's not forfeited his life because he's not a murderer. He's only a robber. Yesh le damim. If there is still blood there, so then he's chayiv. He has to pay for the things that he broke because there's only one punishment here. So he's a regular mazik, right? Ein le damim. But let's say it's an intruder that's not the father. So then he's going to be patur. He doesn't have to pay for what he broke because he forfeited his life. Forfeited his life. It means he acquired it with his own blood. But what's the reason why he doesn't have to pay? Because the shiba, that's because he broke it. That's when, if there's no blood there, that means if it's a regular intruder, he doesn't have to pay because he broke it. But let's say he didn't break it, let's say he took it. What's the difference? It's still intact.
Ein lo damim is the father.
No, yesh le damim is the father. Yesh le damim means he still has his own blood. So he still owns his own life.
So I'm just trying to get the term.
Yeah.
Okay. So if he doesn't have blood,
it doesn't have blood means he's forfeited his life because he's a murderer. So this he's a dead duck.
Took us a while.
Okay.
which one is which? Yeah.
So time of the shiba, the chen leidam pater, but let's say he took the item intact. Then we would say he doesn't have to pay for it. It's a kashan rav. Well, it's in a support to Rava that if it's intact, then if it's intact, then he does have to pay for it, right? It's a proof to Rava. It's only when is he pater, only if he broke it. But if it's still intact, then he should have to pay. He should not have to pay for it. Then he should return it. It's intact. Like Mar says, it's not such a kasha on Rav, because we can say that even if it's intact, he doesn't have to give it back. You hear the way these thieves make money now? According to this Gemara, they break into someone's house, they tunnel in, they take everything, and then when you say, okay, give it back, they say, no, I forfeited my life. Come live with the Rav, I don't have to pay anything back. It's nice knowing you. It's a good trick. It's exempt.
As long as you're under
Then you could kill
1,000.
him.
Only not afterwards. You can't kill him afterwards. It's only at the moment he forfeited
It's
his
in
life.
LA. Still $1,000 you're off.
Then you still kill him.
Anything under 1,000.
He still dies afterwards.
No, he doesn't get killed by the court.
It's unbelievable.
Right? Reb Naftali, it's only while he's there he could get killed. Afterwards, he can't get killed.
Yeah, we don't kill people for stealing.
Right.
I can walk out with it.
It's only in the moment that he would be. So if the same law would apply, that if the item is still intact there, he doesn't have to give it back. So why did Bryce say that he broke the barrel? They could have said he took the barrel. Mashmalan, it's coming to tell us it's coming to tell me that the opposite chiddush, that even if he's a regular thief, the thief has to pay for damages. Because it's the father coming to the son. He's a regular thief. He has to pay for. Versus Pshita, of course, he has to pay for damages. Mazakil, he's a regular damager, right? So Zakamash Milan, that feels like Kavan is coming to tell us that he has to. This is the Gemara is like drowning here. It's trying to like save itself by grabbing onto straw. It's coming to tell us that he's chayiv even if he didn't have intention for doing the damage. Where it says, "My kamashmalan," well, that you have to tell me. Adamud lailam. Yo, of course, I have a mishnah that any damage that a person does is always considered intentional. In Tanina, we learned it in a mishnah. Adamud lailam bein shaykh bein meis bein einis bein ratzon. Bein er ben yashin. The Gemara Baba Kama says whether he's awake or asleep. He's always responsible for any damage that he does. Right? That's the rule. The person's always responsible. Now the truth is that there's types of einus that is actually potter, but here in a regular case, here it's a regular case. There's no chiddush.
Even in his sleep.
Even in his
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Or if he's
Yeah.
in someone's house, his hand goes
Uh-huh.
over.
Taisvis over there says that if
Remember
the
that.
item came onto his bed after he had fallen asleep, that may be different. But if when he went to sleep,
if
the
you
item
woke
was
sleeping,
there,
yeah.
he went to sleep on a bed that has a crystal vase on it. So then he's chayav
With his hand not so.
off the night table. Yeah, he's chayav.
You can imagine before he goes to sleep, he moves everything away.
If he
from the
knows
bed.
that he
Yeah.
That's how he
And he gets up in the dark and trips over everything.
So kasha. Okay, we don't have a teretz for Rav because it doesn't fit the way we tried to answer. But nevertheless, we leave it as a kasha. Rashi says it's not a tiyufta, it's just a kasha. It doesn't say clearly that natal is chayev. It didn't say that clearly. It says shiber is potter. And we tried to say, natal should be chayev. But we don't actually have that.
What do we follow?
So far, we don't know. We're still going further. Let's wait till then. Master.
To the
What's
end of
the
the story.
difference between a kashila whatsoever and a
Tifta means that it's totally rejected from the halacha.
Oh, it's a total.
Yeah.
rejection.
Kasha means that okay, good kasha. Weiter. You know the story with the guy that wrote to the Rogachover? Yeah, he wrote to the Rogachover a question. The Rogachover wrote him back. See this taisvis over here, see that taisvis over there, the whole list. And so he looks up all the Maramakaimas. It has nothing to do with his topic. Next time he was in town here, he met the Rogachover. He said, what are you telling me? Like this taisvis, that taisvis. He says, no, I wanted to show you. That taisvis over there had a question and he left it unanswered. Taisvis over there had a question, he left it unanswered. You just keep learning. Don't stop. Okay, Masav Rabibi Barabaya. Bibi Barabaya has a question. It says, "Againif kis b'Shabbos." If someone steals on Shabbos, chayev, he has to pay. The Gemara is assuming over here that the way he stole it was that he lifted it up, and before he violated the rules of carrying from a Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, he had already acquired the item.
Yeah.
Wait, so. how
Because
did he
Hagbah
acquire
would
it?
work. With
Hagbah in
Hagbah,
the person's house?
I think
Is
Hagbah
that-
works anywhere. Yeah. So,
But they need like with the warning.
yeah, it must be that now it could be Kamle B'derabimene works even if you don't get if the Aveira has a stila, I think that works even if it wasn't mamish. Anyway, over here there were two actions. He's in trouble because of two different counts, right? And one came before the other one. So he's going to be chayav for the payment. Let's say he didn't lift it up. He was dragging it along the floor, which is never considered because it's within the 3 tvachim of the floor. Never considered he lifted it, and
That's
the only
here,
time that he acquires it. Yeah. Could be. So, well, when does he acquire it? Only as he pulls it out, and then Sharei Yisr, he's potter. Sharei Yisr Gnev, this is Kilobam Kechet, because both of those actions come at the same moment, right? The violation of Shabbos and the acquiring of the stolen goods comes at the same time, so he doesn't have to pay for it because Kamle B'deramne. Now, listen to this: the item is still intact, and he's still potter. It's a kashan Rava. Rava said that when would you be exempt because of Kamle B'deramine? Only if you broke it. But if it's still intact, then you have to just give the item back. It's not yours yet. Here we see that the item's still intact and you're exempt. Umar says, that halacha was when as you're pulling it out, you pulled it right into the river. So it's not intact. That was a detail that wasn't in there. You pulled it out and it's not intact. So why do you have to pay for it? Because it's not, you would have had to pay for it because it's not intact. And now you're exempt for that payment because you destroyed it. And it's come later down.
Chasing.
It was as he was pulling into the street, there was a gutter, the drain. Yeah. Rava, and we have the sewers on the ground. In some countries, there's like a river that goes straight along the street on the side of the city.
Like a gully.
Gully, yeah.
Right, different in these cases. The case that he's going to his house, he has to do with him getting murdered. Has to follow advice.
Right. Right.
Here, you did broke Shabbos, so now you don't have to pay me back. Like, what's
That's interesting. That's interesting.
But
But
yeah,
but we're associating the two together. That anytime there's a higher punishment, we drop the lower one.
the guy that it's his thing.
So the guy the thing is like this: that since this person has now turned himself into a murderer because he's breaking into someone's house. Why is he a murderer? Because if the person stands up to block him, he's going to kill him. Al Shem Seifai. We know what's going to happen. This is going to turn into a murder. This is going to turn into a murder case. So we consider him a murderer even now, even just while he's tunneling. So he's forfeited his life. And that's considered a punishment that we have on him. That he's now forfeited. Anyone can kill him. Even though it's not the Bezdin that needs to kill him. It's anyone can kill him. No,
Only
just
during
now.
that.
Rava,
Some people want to do it if they're endangering their life.
this is a different
Some
thing.
people aren't going to do that because they know the rubber's going to fight back.
Yeah.
That's why they should sell their item back. Nobody's going to fight back.
That's why he's going to want to fight, because he wants to stop the guy. Because if the guy makes it out, he's not even going to pay him back. I better stop him here.
They're not gonna get the item back once
Right.
he walks out, isn't it?
That's life. It's not going to go for an item.
No, a person would stand up to block his. That's what
For the item. It's life against.
Rava ignavu le dichri b'machtarta. Rava had his rams were stolen once by someone that was an intruder. Ajunun the guy returned it to him. Like Kablino, he didn't accept it. Now this is Rava that argued on Rav, that said it would only make sense if they're not intact. He says, Amar hayol v'nafim kumid Rav. Yeah, there's the pencil. Them love these commands. Rav said it.
That's it.
Even though we had a kash on it, but we're not going any different than that.
Since when does someone keep rams in their house?
Backyard. I'm forgetting
The
like
case
Yeah.
before was you broke a barrel on the
Right,
house. So
right.
They're saying he's the machteres, he steals the ram.
Oh, don't you ever have a goat? I mean, dog.
My little home in Jerusalem, next door to me, the home had a ramp leading down underneath, and every night they would bring the sheep in and hold them under the house in the basement.
Yeah,
People
Wow.
did.
yeah, yeah. Very,
People have
very
their
interesting. You
favorite
see, this
What
is
would we
the
do without
this
that,
is
though?
the type of thing where you really have to have been there. You have to know how it works. A lot of times we learn these gemaras, we're like, wow, what's going on? The truth is that in that culture, this was totally normal.
Yeah.
So they mamish brought the rams.
They brought
in.
at night. They would bring them into the basement. Okay.
You know, wait,
The ram
in
likes
that
the couch,
text,
by the way.
Hal told me yesterday, following question, what happens if you take a country music records and you play it backwards?
Okay.
So the wife comes back, the cow comes back.
Okay. Tanan Rabbanan. Tanan Abraisa. Ein lei damim. The Braisa says like this. Now the truth is that we should come on and get a chumash for us. We're reading a pasuk without stopping at the end of the sentence. So pasuk says, pasuk gives us thank you. Pasuk gives us both what is it? 22. What number?
Even machteres in Tzeiach and Hukov and Damim in Zohar Hashem, is that what you want?
Yeah. What pasuk is that?
22, 1 and 2.
22, 1 and 2. Okay. So it says like this. I have to read it in the Hebrew because it's important. If a person strikes and kills a thief, and kills a thief who was discovered tunneling into his house, it is not considered bloodshed. Ein lei damim. Okay, it's not ein lei damim. If he kills him, the hookah is like a passive. It's in Parshas Bracha. And he is killed. The ein lei damim. Then the pasuk goes on. Im zarcha shemesh alav. If the sun shone upon him, now what does that mean? The sun shone upon him. Gemara explains that it's obvious that the thief did not intend to kill. Then it is considered bloodshed. Damim loy. It is considered bloodshed.
I thought him Zarcha Shemesh meant that if you caught him later.
No. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but that's not how the Gemara learns it. The Gemara learns it in Zarcha Shemesh that if it's obvious that as clear as the sun, that he's not as clear as day, that he's not coming to kill, and what case would that be? A father coming into, that's how the Gemara learns, that's Rashi. Okay, so now I just want to point out that if I don't have the Seif Pasuk on Pasuk Aleph, what I'm going to read is Ein lei damim im zarcha shemesh alav. The Ein lei damim is really part of the first pasuk. Im zarcha shemesh alav damim lai is the second pasuk. Damim lai, it is considered bloodshed if the sun is shining, but the Gemara learns it both ways. So let's take a look. It says Ein lei damim im zarcha shemesh alav. This is like the incorrect reading, but it's it's not considered bloodshed if the sun shines on him. What do you mean the sun shone on him? The sun is shining on one person? That's not what it means. It means in barlach hadavar kashemesh shein lai shalom imach. if it's obvious to you that he's not peaceful with you, and he's just a stranger, hargeyu, then you're allowed to kill him. Ein damim. You have to know for sure that he's your enemy. It has to be barak hashemesh. The obvious that he's going to kill you. Then you can kill him. Bimlav, but if there's any doubt there, al targeyu, then you can't kill him. If you kill the person that there was a doubt, then you're going to be held in court. They're going to try you.
That's another reason why.
Right.
Should I go
Right.
for my life.
Right.
One way, or should I go the rest of my life? The other way.
So over here we're saying if there's a doubt, you're going to be guilty. Right.
Better to let him go, no?
Tanya Yidach, there's another brisa. Now we read the pasuk correctly. If the sun shone on him, it's bloodshed. Did it only shine on him? If it's obvious to you that he's not going to kill you, then don't kill him. And if it's not so obvious, any doubt, right? This is an expression that you're not supposed to say. It says, first pull the trigger and ask questions later. This is imlav hargeyo. If you have a doubt, just kill him. We'll figure it out later.
Better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Did you follow that, Reb Naftali?
Better to be what?
Better to be judged by 12 than to be carried by 6.
Uh-huh. I haven't heard that. That's going to go in the book.
How could you not have heard that?
You know, in America, especially in the South, people used to set up in their homes something called spring guns. And a spring gun was attached mechanically to, say, a door. And if somebody opened the door, the gun would go off and kill the person. And until the 1950s or 60s, that was legal. But they outlawed it for the same reason, because the person coming in may not be coming in to kill. He may be just a trespasser. And even in this, even there's no heter to kill someone for trespassing, just for stealing.
Wow.
There was a case not that long ago of someone who killed a family member coming in. No, they never got in. They shot through the door with, I think, a shotgun or something, because they were scared someone was going to break in. And I think they killed their own family.
Okay, now the Gemara asks a question like this. The diuk from the first brisa contradicts the diuk from the second brisa. The first brisa tells me that if there's any doubt, don't kill him. The second brisa says that if there's a doubt, kill him. So kasha stama. It's a kasha from the stam. That means if you don't know for sure. On the other one, that you don't know for sure. Gemara says like kasha. It's not a question. It's a different case. That's how we resolve contradictions. As we say, first we try to say it's a different case. You really can't get away with that, then we'll say it's a machlekes. But first we'll say it's a different scenario. Kan ba'av ala ben, kan b'ben ala av. We'll start off saying the first brisa was the father on the son, that you have to know if the father is tunneling, and they have to know for sure that he's coming. It has to be clear that he's coming to kill. If you have any doubt, if the father would kill the son, we assume the father would not kill the son. So it needs to be baruch hashemesh in order to kill. Be clear as day in order to kill. Kam ben alav. Here, the second brisa that's talking about that if there's a doubt, you kill. That's talking about the son is coming to the father. It's tunneling in on the father. Now, that's a chiddush itself. But really, if anyone is coming in on someone else that's not a relative, then for sure you could kill if there's a doubt. Amar Rav. Rav says, Kol da asi alav b'machtarta. Anyone that comes to me and that tunnels into me, katlin l'lei, I would kill him.
Can I ask a question? Listen. We got here because we were trying to show that just like the Ben Sora Mora was for the future, that we're dealing with cases built up for future. But this last thing is also talking, this mention of the son would kill the father also sounds to be like
that's interesting. Very interesting. So katilna le'labar mi Rab Chanina bar Shila, except for Rab Chanina bar Shila. My time, what's the reason? Ilim mishum de tzadiku. Is he such a tzaddik and you won't kill him? Akasim achtarta. What type of tzaddik is he? He's tunneling in. Such a tzaddik. Yeah. He's a tzaddik. Don't kill the thief. He's a mamish tzaddik. This could be a
He didn't want to ring the
Shlomo
doorbell at
Kalbach's
night.
holy thieves,
yeah.
you know.
Holy thieves, yeah.
So it's 12 months also.
Oh yeah.
Property.
Ella mishum dekim lebegavei de merachem alai karachem aval ben. Rather, I know for sure that he would have compassion on me if he's coming in, even if I would stand up against him, he wouldn't kill me. Like a father has compassion on his son. It's interesting because it's Reb Chanina bar Shila. I wonder if it's Reb Shila's son. Reb Shila was someone that was in Bavel before Rav came. He was like the Rosh Hashiva in Bavel. Anyway, okay. Tana Rabban, it was starting to Brisa. Damim Lai. Damim Lai means that he has his blood still in him. That means he's not guilty of murder. Bein b'chol, bein b'Shabbos. That means you don't kill him, whether it's weekday, whether it's Shabbos. Ein Lai Damim. He doesn't have his blood in him. That means he's forfeited his life. That means it's not the father coming to the son, it's anyone else. Bein b'chol, bein b'Shabbos, you kill him whether it's Shabbos or weekday. So we just mixed in, like, you know, it's like a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. For an intruder. It says, are you allowed to kill the intruder? Answer, yes, whether it's weekday, whether it's Shabbos, right? If it's the father, you're allowed to, no, whether it's weekday, whether it's Shabbos. So Gemara says, 1 second. If you want to tell me that you're allowed to kill him, it's necessary to say that you're allowed to kill him even on Shabbos. I could have entered your mind. Maybe it's similar to people that are killed in court. The B'Shabbos Leikatlin Bezdin doesn't kill on Shabbos. But over here he is allowed to kill. Okay, that's a good point. You want to tell me you don't kill him on the weekday if it's the father coming to the son. You have to tell me that you don't kill him on Shabbos. You don't kill him. Well, I don't need a bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. I'm Rav Sheishas leinitzchel lefakech levasagal. Coming to say something else. Coming to say that if it's a father that was intruding on the son, and while he's intruding with his bad luck, the house collapsed, and now they say, "Oh, who's there?" The tunnel collapsed, right? The tunnel collapsed. Yeah, but he's digging. So do you uncover the? So if it's the father on the son, then you have to uncover on Shabbos. You have to take away the rubble to get him out. That's bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. That's what we're saying. Bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos. You have to uncover it. The other one, if he's stuck under there, bein b'chol bein b'Shabbos, you don't have to uncover here. This wouldn't be. You don't have to save his life when he's stuck in the tunnel that collapsed on Shabbos, or on the weekday, both.
Ben b'chol ben b'Shabbos.
Yeah. Taner Rabbanan was Taner Brisa v'Huka, and he is struck. So we said the robber that is struck. B'chol adam, anyone can strike him. Doesn't have to be the owner.
There's no Zor Hashemesh.
Mace and he dies. Any death that you can kill him with, it's fine. With a whatever you have at hand, a baseball bat or whatever. I get why it says that they strike him. That with any person, it's necessary to tell me that. I could have thought that maybe he's only coming to kill the balabayas. If the balabayas would be standing up, he's going to kill the balabayas. So, but another person, Stam, that's walking by that sees him tunneling in, is allowed to go and to kill him. So it's kamashman that yes, the reidafu, because this guy is going to be a murderer. Anyone is allowed to stop a murderer from carrying out the crime. Why do you have to tell me that that you're allowed to kill him any way you want? I know that you can kill a murderer any way you want. We have it clearly about the Reitzeach, a regular murder. The Tanya was started in a Brisa. He should be put to death. The one that strikes should be put to death. He's a murderer. I would only think that the death penalty that's coming. What's the death penalty on murder? I think sayef, by the sword. How do you know that if you can't get him with the death penalty that's prescribed in the Torah, that you can do another death penalty? He should be put to death no matter what. the murder. That means that even if you can't get him with the sword, but you can get him with an arrow, so you use the arrow. So
Sniper.
A sniper, right? So here, so I know already a murder. This is how that if you can't do this way, you do that way. So why do you have to tell me? B'chol misa umeis b'chol misa shatiyach. Shani Hassan Damar Kam Meisumas. Over there, the pasuk says when the Bezdin is carrying out, it says Meisumas, that he should be surely put to death. That means anyway. But over here it doesn't say Meisumas, it just says a mace. It says Vinigmarine. So let's learn from there. I can't learn from there. I need to have the pasuk of a mace specifically by the Machteres to tell me that you're allowed to kill him any other way. It doesn't have to be with the sword. Because it says the Goyal Adam could kill him, and it says the Bezdin could kill him. Now, those two cases, that's called Shnei Ksuvim. Yeah. Both of those, they're two limudim. If that would be considered a precedent, then I would only need one. Why does it say two? To tell me that it's not a precedent, I can't learn from that. So I need a special limud over here to say that you can get killed anyway. Taner Rabbanu was taught in the Brisa. Machteres, tunneling in. Alien Machteres, I only know if he's tunneling under the wall. How do you know if he's going over the roof, or he's going through the courtyard, or he's going through the enclosure? However you find them, the same, that pasuk continues. Okay. So why'd we say tunneling? Because usually you catch people in the tunnel. Or they frequent tunneling. That's a common way. Another Bryce. I would only think that the salach would apply if he's tunneling. How do you know if he's going over the roof or through an enclosure? So why do you say tunneling? The tunneling is considered warning. You hear? If you're doing something while he's climbing in, they catch him, they kill him. But people say, but he wasn't warned. Don't worry, he was tunneling in. That's his warning. We know what his intention was. This is a caught red-handed. You can't say, but you didn't tell me that I wasn't allowed to. Right? Amar Ravuna. Ravuna says, Katna reidef mitlatzil benafshi. If a katan is killing another child, the kids are fighting. He's trying to kill him. You're allowed to kill the first one. You can kill him, right? Kasava reidef in tzarech hasra. He doesn't need to be warned. Leishna gadol, leishna katan. Doesn't matter if he's an adult or a child. You see, kids fight, but what are they scratch each other or whatever. But when one of them pulls out a gun, then that's serious business. Rav Chisda asked Rav a question.
What about the Mizrahi, the rabbi over there? He gave a whole speech about these Palestinians. Like in a few years, they're going to become terrorists. Hamas. Is that considered hashkim hargim?
In Israel, a lot of people say that way.
Yeah,
It's a default.
Yatsa Raishai, it's a very difficult halacha. If there's a woman is in childbirth, and the mother is risk of her life, her life is at risk because of the birth. So if they can kill the fetus to save the mother's life, that's what they do. Now that's only if the fetus has not emerged. Once it's been born, then you can't kill the fetus. Let's say the head comes out, but it's stuck. Once the head comes out, then it's already one life. There's two lives already existing. Then you can't touch them. You don't kill one person just because of another one. Why not? He's a raidif. He's a murderer. Gemara says, Shani Hasim the Mishmai Karad Filei, that's coming from heaven. He's not really a murderer. He's not the murderer. This is the heaven that's causing this. Name Messiah. Let's bring a support. Now we're going to bring a support that you don't need to warn a murderer.
Something like Shabbos. That kills it. Don't break Shabbos.
No, but that's the best thing. I hear what you're saying. Okay, right. If someone's chasing his friend to kill him, Amalai, and he tells him, okay, you give him a warning, and then he continues. You kill him. It doesn't say that he accepts the warning. It doesn't say anything about that. It just says you can kill him. The Gemara says, 1 second, here Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehudi. The reason over there why he doesn't have to accept the warning, he has to say Afal Pikein usually, Nevertheless, I'm going to do it. I don't care what it says. I'm going to do it anyway. He doesn't have to do that because that's the opinion of Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda, which we had. Rabbi Yossi Bar Yehuda Omer, someone that knows the halacha doesn't need to be warned. The reason for warning is just to tell me that he's not a shaygig. Okay, let me just finish till then. Tashma,
Go.
come and listen. Right? Someone's chasing his friend to kill him. If he says, I know, and then he gets killed, pater.
Who's your Danny? The kind of, or the one who's chasing or being chased?
I'm not sure. Just 1 second. If he says, I'm an askinani, I say, nevertheless, I'm doing that, then he's chayiv. Why is Yadani pater? Over there.
No, so Kol Ro'eh, so you have to look at the higher one. Kol Ro'eh, so you spoke Damai.
If he says, if the pursuer responds with a mere, I know that this is Sopati, he's exempt from being killed, for although he acknowledges that he understands the forbidden nature of the act, he has not declared that he will commit the act, even though this will result in death, which is interesting. So even though he says Yedeyani, he says I know, that's not considered he's accepting the Asra. Okay, so here we see that he doesn't need to be warned. The Gemara says, like, betray every dinar. Here we're talking about that the person can't really stop him because he's on the murder, the pursuer and the pursuant, the murderer and the victim are both on one side of the river. This guy's on the other side. So what are you going to do? You're just, the reason why you're warning him is because you want to bring him to court later because you're witnessing it. Beidina by Yasra, so the best needs Asra. That's why this price says that you need Asra, because you're planning for the future court case. Or you can say, Ravuna can say that I follow. Ravuna says that you don't, the cotton doesn't need Asra and all of that. Is because once you're machteres, that's considered a warning. Okay, leave it there. Good day, everyone.
What was with the case where, remember the guy was making it back, but